Hey YouTubers, Crud Bigrig here with the Accuracy International AT rifle. Up next on my channel.
Try to jam up the action. Flawlessly.
Don't go out in the winter.
Back in the late 80s, early 90s, I fell in love with the Accuracy International L96 rifle. I had an instant love affair with it. It was the sexiest rifle I had ever seen. For 20 some years, I had lusted after the rifle. Then, about early 90s, the Swedish military decided that they needed a new precision rifle. The problem with that is the fact that the Swedes needed some very specific requirements. One being that you were able to operate the rifle with gloves, meaning they needed an extended magazine release, a bolt and safety that were easily workable with gloves, an open trigger guard and thumbhole stock to use with mittens as well. Accuracy International did their homework. They made relief cuts in the bolt to prevent it from freezing. They opened the trigger guard up, adjusted the magazine release, and then you had the Arctic Warfare rifle. And for the longest time, it was quite out of my price range. These rifles ran around $7,000 or so. Quite pricey for a kid who's getting out of college. And then around the 2010 mark, Accuracy International started to consolidate their products and make the AT rifle. This was a streamlined product that had all the features of the Arctic Warfare rifle as well as the cost savings of the AE series into one glorious rifle. They updated the chassis compared to a Gen 1 chassis. Several features including a relief cut in the fore end so that you don't get a chatter mark from your bipod swinging left and right. They increased the length of the magazine release. They increased the cut in the back of the rifle so that you can use the appropriate new technique of using a rear bag. But one of the hallmarks to this is now the quick lock barrel system. There's a 4mm Allen that you unscrew, and then the whole barrel assembly is able to be screwed in and out. This means that one rifle you can shoot 5, 6, 10 different calibers as long as it's a .308 head. That's all that matters. So let me go through the rifle and tell you guys some of the sweet features to this thing. This is a 20-inch stainless steel barrel. From what I'm aware, this one is a Bart line. They're using Bart lines at least in the last few years with an AI muzzle brake. A receiver made out of square bar stock. This allows a chunkier action, but more importantly, it makes it wide enough to use a double stack magazine. This is in comparison to the single stack Accuracy International Chassis System magazine. If you look, these are both 10-round magazines, and there's a substantial difference in size. In fact, they're roughly about an inch longer than the 5-round magazine that comes with the chassis system. Because of the bolt interface, you have a smooth 60-degree throw and a very Lee Enfield style opening and locking mechanism to it. I love the feel of this rifle. Because of the double stack magazine, there is no longer a single feed, which means you can simply take these rounds on top of each other and just push them straight down. There is no longer the need to take a round, push the round in front of it down, and then slide it back, which is a real bugger when it comes to loading these with gloves on. The bolt itself has relief cuts in it to make sure that it does not get any dirt or contaminants to lock up the bolt. In my 700, I've had issues before, over and over again, where this bolt was so smooth that I would have issues with it locking up when there's ice in it, or another example is when you get some overpressure sign, which this 700 did multiple times. Because of the action being so strong, this rifle very rarely shows pierced primers and overpressure signs. Moving back on the rifle, you have a 3-position safety. All the way back is safe. Center position is a safety that disables the trigger but allows you to operate the bolt independently, and then forward is fire. So to disassemble the bolt, there's this little plunger here. You're going to push that down while rotating. That's it. It's going to pop out. There you go. And you can only really go in one way because it's keyed right here. Push it down and then just rotate it. That's it. We also have a cocking indicator here, similar to the Remington 700, except it's a lot more prominent. We have a folding stock, adjustable comb, and length of pull. The receiver itself is permanently bedded to the chassis for the life of the rifle. These skins are replaceable as well, thank goodness, because they scratch up very easily. Don't know what material they use, but not the best in the world, AI. One of the updates that I like is, instead of the classic HK hooks, we have QD mounts now, which these flush QD cups are a real lifesaver, especially when it comes to slings. We also now have a removable accessory rail. This also has the ability to take a night vision bracket out front here, and one of the cooler features that you don't see in many rifles is you can remove this bolt in this trigger guard, and you can actually slide the trigger shoe back and forth. This allows a perfect fit for your shooting position. This rifle also has a 2-stage trigger, so it is a 3.5 pound trigger. First stage is about 2 pounds,
and the second stage is about another 1.5 pounds.
Take your slack up. The bolt itself easily disassembles just by pressing a button on the side of the receiver, which is a lot chunkier than this little piece of sheet metal that the Remington 700 uses. Accuracy so far has been exceptional with this rifle. I'm averaging 5-shot groups at a 1/2 inch or smaller. With my 700, I'm lucky to do a 1/2 inch group with 3-round shots. So far, the Copper Creek 168 grain seems to be the most accurate out of my barrel. My 3 major gripes with this rifle is, number 1, it uses a 1 in 12 twist for a .308 barrel. This is the 21st century. Go with 1 in 10. Mother of God. 2, the side stocks still get chipped up. As you can see here, you'll see in some of the videos, it's already being chipped up just from general use. I understand that this is a combat rifle, but you know, some guys that are spending this, you know, $5,000 to $7,000 for these, I think they want a little bit nicer side stocks. And the third is the price. I get it. It's an expensive rifle. It's far more expensive than what I thought possible to purchase. However, I made a promise to myself that once I hit 220 pounds, I would buy this rifle. It was an incentive for me. I ended up achieving that in a 6-month time frame. This rifle is, however, very, very good at positional shooting. When it comes to taking shots off the bipod, freehand, you can really see the Olympic background to the people that designed this rifle. I really think that Accuracy International and Everly Stock are kind of a perfect marriage of rifle and backpack system, because they both came from a biathlon Olympic shooting background, which meant that these rifles were meant to be ran around, they're meant to be abused, and they still keep working. I went to the range yesterday, tried to pack that action up as much as possible to try to get it to freeze shut, and it would not get stuck. That action is as smooth as can be. They really did a number on the design of this rifle. So far, I've shot about 150 rounds. No malfunctions whatsoever. The only quirky thing that I found is that the rifle does not like a 185 grain bullet. The other issue is I am going to be getting a front spigot mount with an Atlas bipod, because this rifle just was not designed to shoot with a Harris bipod, which luckily this whole setup can be removed because there's a nice key mod system here, as opposed to the old chassis, which had this weird 1980s style hand stop, which I was never really a big fan of. It's just a weird setup. Like I said, the magazine release has been extended, so it's a lot easier to grab. The nice part is, since the magazine is so much shorter than the Aces, you're able to remove the mag and insert a new one without ever having to raise the buttstock. In contrast to the Remington 700, where you have to hook that thing up because of how long this magazine is. This magazine's the size of an FAL mag. I mean, come on, Accuracy International. You couldn't put somehow a more double stack magazine in this thing. Mags are a little bit expensive, but they're identical to the Aces. You're talking $77 per magazine, which is cheap compared to other military bolt actions out there. You look at something like the TRG 42 and 22, they're $250 a mag. So $77 is quite the savings. I'm going to be continuing this review later in the summer. I want to start competing in PRS matches. If any of you guys see me out there, I'm going to be competing in the northeast region of PRS, and I'm going to be wearing my weird Swedish camouflage. So if you guys come up to me and you see my videos, please say hi. You know, I'm a super nice guy. I look a little grumpy. I'm not that grumpy, but look forward to seeing you guys out there, and get out there, train, and push as hard as you can. Probably not a soul in miles. saw some coyote tracks. That's kind of cool.